You've reached howtoplayanySong.com. My name is Joe with the Rock and Roll Conservatory, and in this video series, we're going to talk about the stripped-down basics of guitar. It's kind of meant for the guitar player who just got their guitar. They don't know what all this stuff is. They don't know the names of their strings. And speaking of which, I've gotten a lot of email from people who, when I talk about in the rest of the guitar videos what strings I'm on, they don't know what I'm talking about. You have to understand the names of your strings, people. So we're going to go over that in this video series, and we're just going to cover a lot of the basics, a few chords, a few exercises, and just some stuff to get your feet wet, so to speak, on what this instrument is. Let's get started. All right, welcome back. In this video segment, we're going to talk about the musical alphabet, or the chromatic scale, as it's officially called. Now, every instrument uses the chromatic scale. It's just a series of notes that we use. We don't, there's no Z note. There's no such thing as an H note. There's certain letters of the English alphabet that we use to represent certain notes. Now, this alphabet goes from A to G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like I said, there's no H note. There's no I note. There's only 7 different notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, 7 notes. The thing you have to remember is that after every note comes another note. That note is a sharp. So let's say after the A note, there would be an A sharp note, and then it would go to the B note. Or let's say after an F note, the next note after that would be F sharp, then it would go to the G note. But like most things, there's 2 exceptions to that rule. There's no such thing as a B sharp note, at least for our beginning purposes. We'll just say that. We go from B straight to C, not B sharp C, no such thing. B to C. And same thing when we're talking about the E note. There's no such thing as an E sharp. Like I said, not for beginners at least. We'll break that rule soon enough. But it goes straight from E to F. There's no E sharp F. It's just E straight to F. So all you have to remember, there are the 2 rules plus the exception, and that is there's 7 notes of the musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That there's a sharp after every note, and then of course the exception that B doesn't have a sharp and E doesn't have a sharp. So the musical alphabet ends up sounding like A, then A sharp, B straight to C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E straight to F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and then it wraps back around to the A note again. So applying that to guitar, every instrument has its starting place in the musical alphabet. It doesn't always start at A. For instance, a piano starts at a C note. It starts right in the middle, C, C sharp, D, and onward up the piano. Your guitar, at least in standard tuning, which your guitar hopefully is in, it starts with an E. And as you remember from our previous segment, we have a low E string. That's where our musical alphabet starts. So we're going to go up this fret by fret and show you what each of the notes are. We're going to start with an E, and then we're going to go to the first fret of the E string. This note is no longer an E note. It was before when it was open, and that's why we call it the E string, but now it's a completely different note. It's the note right after E in the musical alphabet, which if you remember is F. Remember, there's no such thing as an E sharp, so it goes from E straight to F. The next note we'll go up to, on the 2nd fret here, is an F sharp note. So E, F, F sharp, and then the 3rd fret is a G note, then a G sharp note. And that's where we kind of stop, because the next string, if you recall, is an A note. And A comes after G sharp, where our finger is at. I'll show you what I mean. E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp. The next note is A, and all we got to do is go to the next string, A, and then we continue from there. A sharp, B, straight to C, then C sharp. The next note in the musical alphabet is a D note. And not coincidentally at all, our next string is a D. So we're going to go to the next string. D, D sharp, E. And we've covered an octave from E to E. I'm going to move through that without stopping. This is what it sounds like and looks like. E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, next string A sharp, B, C, C sharp, next string, D, D sharp, and E. We can even continue on from there. And let's do it. From the E, we start again. F, F sharp, then we go to the next string, G, G sharp, A, A sharp. Now at this point, we've gone to the 4th fret of every string before we go to the next string. That's because guitar is tuned in fourths, what we call fourths. It has not anything to do with the 4th fret. We can cover that another time. But on this G, we only have to go to the 3rd fret before we have to cycle to the next one. So right now, we are at the A sharp note, and then the next string is B. B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp. We're back on the 4th fret to the next string, E, then F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and we can continue if we wanted to up the musical alphabet on that high string all the way up to our last fret if we wanted to. So that's your musical alphabet. You're going to want to know it as well as you know your string names, which is very well, because this is the way musicians talk to each other. When we say playing a chord, every chord has a note to start off the word of the name of the chord, and then a phrase. For instance, a G major. Major is musicese for happy or content. So if by saying G major, we're saying a happy or content chord that starts with a G. That actually sounds like this. G note, E, F, F sharp, G major. And that's a pretty neutral, happy chord. If I said G minor, it's still the same thing. E, F, F sharp, G. We're still going to start with that note, but we're going to play a sad chord. A minor is musicese for sad or depressed. G minor, G major. This is why we need to know the names of our notes. It'll give us a lot of help when we're discovering the guitar. In our next segment, we're actually going to talk about tuning your guitar. I'll see you there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you learned something. And if you didn't, just rewind the video and watch it again. For How to Play Any Song, this is Joe Wiles, and I'll see you again. Bye.